Hey everybody, this is Daniel Hickson, bringing another quick book review video or reflection video on an important classic book that has helped a lot of people spiritually. And before I tell you what it is, well, you already know because you clicked on the video, right? I hope you will hit the like button and the thumbs up and share this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you'd like to do that. So I want to talk a little bit about The Imitation of Christ by Thomas à Kempis. And this is a book that I picked up in college, and I wanted to read it because I knew he was a medieval writer. Thomas was a monk in the late Middle Ages. And it's a book, though, that has been popular kind of across denominational lines. Obviously, a medieval monk writing in Latin, he's been popular with Roman Catholics, but he's also been popular with Protestants. In fact, Whitaker House, the publishing company that did this edition, is an evangelical Protestant publisher. And so he's one of those writers that has that kind of ecumenical appeal. And The Imitation of Christ is a series of meditations on the Christian life and a real focus on giving your whole heart, your whole desires, giving everything over to God. Thomas was associated with a theological, or really a spiritual movement called the modern devotion movement, and some people see this as kind of a precursor to the Protestant Reformation. And in some ways they did share some similar concerns, but they weren't really concerned with the institutions of the church being reformed, but they were concerned with the spiritual life being purified by the grace of God and giving your life over to God. There's a lot of stuff in here about just learning to be humble and watching over your thoughts. There's a section at the end about preparing yourself to receive Holy Communion, the Blessed Sacrament of the Lord's Supper, and just some pretty classic spiritual and pastoral guidance. Kind of like what you get with the Screwtape Letters is what you get with The Imitation of Christ. I heard recently that this work has been translated into more languages than any other book except the Bible. And I don't know if that's true, but certainly people are saying that, so it's definitely been a very popular book. And because it is a translation, you'll find some translations are better or easier to read than others. I think I have given away a couple of copies of this book in a different translation that may not have been quite as readable as this one. But I did want to share one quote. This is going to be a pretty short video. One quote from this book. Anytime you're reading a lot of Christian books or theology books, there's this danger that you might make this Christian life simply a matter of the head. In fact, there are some theological traditions that often get accused of that, of Christianity. For them, those traditions is all about learning the theology and lining up all the propositions just right and knowing the right answers to the questions, but not really giving your life, giving your heart to God, right? What does Jesus say? Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and all your strength, your whole being. So Thomas addresses this right at the beginning of the book because he's writing a book about spiritual things, and he doesn't want it to only be a matter of reading books and getting head knowledge. And so this is what he says in this edition. This is the very first page of chapter 1. He says, "What does it avail to discourse profoundly of the Trinity if you are void of humility and are thereby displeasing to the Trinity? Surely profound words do not make a man holy and just, but a virtuous life makes him dear to God. I would rather feel contrition than know the definition thereof." So it's not just about knowing the right things, it's about having that contrite heart before God, seeking that virtuous life, seeking Him, seeking His grace. He talks about different kinds of sins, vanity and inordinate affections, and he says some things that are, like a lot of ancient books and old writers, he says some things that are going to be really vexing and perplexing to the modern reader, but that is one of the reasons why it's a good idea to read old books. Sometimes they're difficult, sometimes they challenge us, sometimes they're working from a whole different set of assumptions about the way the world is or the way we are, and just because they're different doesn't mean that the old writers are wrong. And so we need sometimes that challenge to make us rethink some things. So Thomas à Kempis, The Imitation of Christ, this really is a great one. And I hope you will run out and find it. Of course, it is, because it's 1,000 years old, well, not quite, but several hundred years old, it is available for free in many places on the internet in translation. I didn't look, but I wouldn't be surprised to find you could find somebody narrating it on YouTube or other services like that. So, The Imitation of Christ by Thomas à Kempis, a great read. And I heard that today is actually the feast of Thomas à Kempis this morning. And so I thought that book was on my list of books to do a video out. So I wanted to get this one out today. A great little book. Give you a lot to chew on. Give you a lot to wrestle with. And he does send you back to the Bible at times to reflect on what are these words, the Word of God, what is it really saying? And also, forgot to add this, so here's a PS to that video. The Imitation of Christ was one of the books that John Wesley included in his Christian library. John Wesley, the great Anglican priest and Methodist revival leader, one of the things he did to try to give his preachers kind of a good theological education is he went and he took some of the greatest works of the Christian tradition right up to his own day, including other English writers and Anglican writers that he knew personally, and he edited their works into what was called the Christian library. And so one of the works that John Wesley selected for that library was The Imitation of Christ by Thomas à Kempis. So as somebody in the Wesleyan stream, I think it's worth noting that this was a book that was so admired by John Wesley that he thought all of his preachers and all the leaders in his revival movement should be reading it. So just wanted to throw that in there as well. Talk to you later. Bye.